Is she dead? Naoma's voice cut through the darkness. Finally, Mama Obi replied coldly. The cursed one is gone. But they were wrong. On the seventh day, Adais drank the sacred water and collapsed. They thought she was dead. They were celebrating. But in the darkness of that tiny storage hut, Adais's eyes snapped open. She wasn't dead. She was transformed. And inside her, a miracle was growing. If you haven't watched part 1, stop right now and go watch it first. The link is in the description and pinned in the comments. You need to see how Adais got here. The 7 years of suffering and that sacred water moment. Trust me, part 1 will break your heart. For everyone who's been waiting for part 2, welcome back. Hit that subscribe button right now because what happens in this part will leave you speechless. And if you've ever been betrayed by someone who was supposed to protect you, this story is going to hit different. Now let's see what happened to Adais. Adais's body ached. Every muscle screamed as consciousness flooded back. How long had she been unconscious? Hours? Days? She tried to move, but her limbs felt heavy, foreign. The storage hut was dark except for a sliver of moonlight through the cracked door. Then she felt it. A flutter, deep in her belly. So faint she thought she'd imagined it. Her hand moved slowly to her stomach, trembling. She pressed gently. There it was again. Stronger this time. Life. A sob tore from her throat, not of pain but of overwhelming, crushing joy. Thank you, she whispered into the darkness. Thank you. She was pregnant. After 7 years of emptiness, of shame, of being called cursed, she was carrying a child. But as joy flooded through her, so did fear. What if they took this from her too? What if Mama Obi found a way to destroy this blessing? What if no? The divine woman's words echoed in her mind. No matter what happens, you must continue to show kindness, even to your enemies. The test wasn't over. Adais pulled herself up slowly, every movement careful, protective. She couldn't tell anyone yet, not until she understood what was happening, not until she was strong enough to protect this miracle. She hid the empty calabash deeper beneath her mat and lay back down, placing both hands over her belly. I'll keep you safe, she whispered to the tiny life inside her. I promise. Dawn came too quickly. Adais forced herself up, her body still weak but stronger than yesterday. She wrapped a cloth tightly and stepped out into the compound. The world looked different. Colors were brighter, sounds were clearer. Everything felt new. You're alive? Naomi stood frozen in the doorway of the main house, her pregnant belly prominent in the morning light. Her face was a mixture of shock and something darker. Fear. You collapsed. We thought I was just exhausted, Adais said quietly, keeping her voice steady. From all the wedding preparations. Mama Obi emerged behind Eneoma, her sharp eyes narrowing as she studied Adais from head to toe. You look different, she said suspiciously. Adais's heart pounded. Could they see it already? Could they tell? I'm just tired, Mama. Mama Obi circled her slowly, like a predator assessing prey. Well, since you're not dead, get to work. The compound doesn't clean itself. Adaisi nodded and moved toward the brooms, but Mama Obi's hand shot out, gripping her arm. And Adais? Her voice dropped to a venomous whisper. Whatever you were doing with that strange calabash Naoma told me about, stop it. We don't need witchcraft in this family. Adesi met her eyes. I don't practice witchcraft, Mama. I only pray. Then pray quietly. You're disturbing the household. She released Adesi's arm with a shove. As Adesi walked, sweeping the compound, she caught Naoma watching her from the shadows. The pregnant woman's hand rested on her own belly, her expression unreadable. Something had shifted. They sensed it even if they didn't understand it yet. The storm was coming. Week 1 Adais woke before dawn and vomited behind the compound. She wiped her mouth quickly, looking around to make sure no one had seen. Morning sickness. The confirmation she needed. As she walked throughout the day, she caught herself smiling. Just small moments. While grinding pepper, while fetching water, while serving food. What are you smiling about? Mama Obi snapped during breakfast. Nothing, Mama. Just grateful to be alive. Grateful? Neoma laughed bitterly. For this life? Serving everyone while having nothing of your own? Ades said nothing. Let them think she was broken. Let them think she had nothing. Soon they'd know the truth. At week 2, the changes were subtle but undeniable. Adaisy's skin began to glow, not dramatically, but enough that the other women noticed. You look different, Chidera, the young third wife, said shyly one afternoon. Healthier. Thank you, Adaisy replied, surprised by the girl's kindness. Chidera glanced around to make sure they were alone. Is something happening? Adaisy's heart stopped. What do you mean? I don't know. You just seem lighter, like something heavy has been lifted. Before Adaisy could respond, Naoma's sharp voice cut through the air. Chidera, stop gossiping with the Barren one and come help me. Chidera scurried away, but not before giving Adaisy a small, sympathetic smile. Week 3. Adaisy bent over behind the cooking hut, vomiting into the bushes. She tried to hide it, but the morning sickness was getting worse. Well, well, well. She spun around. Numa stood there, arms crossed over her pregnant belly, a knowing smirk on her face. Morning sickness? Neuma's voice was soft, dangerous. How interesting. I'm just ill, Adaisy said quickly, wiping her mouth. Ill. Neoma stepped closer. Or pregnant. The word hung in the air between them. That's impossible, Adaisy whispered. Is it? Neoma's eyes were sharp, calculating. That glowing calabash, the 7 days, and now this. She circled Adaisy slowly, studying her. Your breasts are fuller, your face is rounder, your skin is glowing. She leaned in close. You're pregnant, aren't you? Adazi's silence was answer enough. Neoma's face twisted with rage and fear. How? Obi hasn't touched you in months. Whose child is it? It's his child, Adazi said firmly. Conceived 3 months ago before he stopped visiting. Liar! Believe what you want, Neoma. The truth will reveal itself soon enough. Neoma grabbed her arm roughly. If you're carrying a bastard child and trying to pass it off as Obi's, I'm not. Then prove it. Tell the family. Let them examine you. Let them... When I'm ready, Adesi said, pulling her arm free. Not before. Neoma's eyes narrowed. You have 1 week. 1 week to announce it yourself, or I'll announce it for you. She stormed off, leaving Adaez alone with her racing heart. The secret was out. The countdown had begun. 6 days later, Mama Obi called a family meeting. Adaez knew what was coming. She'd felt it in the way Neoma had been watching her, the way Mama Obi's eyes followed her every movement. The compound was decorated with fresh flowers. The elders had been invited. This was meant to be a celebration. We gather today, Mama Obi announced, her voice carrying across the compound, to celebrate new life in this family. Everyone turned to look at Neoma, who sat prominently on a decorated stool, her pregnant belly draped in lily dews from Hong Kong prides. Expensive clothes, and Neoma carries her 4th child, Mama Obi continued. A blessing to our household. Polite applause. And Mama Obi's smile widened. Young Chidera has just informed us that she too is expecting. Her 1st child. More applause. Chidera blushed and nodded shyly. 2 new lives, Mama Obi said, looking directly at Adais. 2 fertile women bringing honor to this family. Not like some, I'm pregnant too. The words fell like stones into still water. Every head turned. Adaizi stood slowly, her hand moving to rest on her belly. The gesture was protective, claiming. What? Mama Obi's face drained of color. I'm pregnant? Adaizi repeated, louder this time. 3 months. The silence was deafening. Then chaos erupted. Liar! Mama Obi screamed. Neoma's calabash slipped from her fingers, shattering on the ground. Obi stood up slowly from where he'd been sitting, his face a mask of confusion. That's impossible. We haven't... We did, Adais said calmly, meeting his eyes. 3 months ago, one night. You'd been drinking palm wine and you came to my hut. Don't you remember? Obi's face flushed. He did remember. Vaguely, drunkenly. He'd gone to her hut one night, more out of habit than desire, and this is witchcraft, Mama Obi shrieked. She's lying. She's trying to pass off some bastard child as called the midwife. Adaisy said quietly. Examine me. Test me. The truth will speak for itself. The elders nodded. This was the proper way. The village midwife was summoned. The midwife led Adaise into a private hut, while the family waited outside in tense silence. Anuma paced back and forth, her hand on her belly, muttering under her breath. Mama Obi sat rigid, her face carved from stone. Obi stood apart from everyone, his mind racing. Could it be true? Could Adaise actually be... The door opened. The midwife emerged, her ancient face unreadable. Everyone held their breath. She speaks the truth, the midwife announced. 3 months pregnant. The child is healthy and... She paused, her eyes widening slightly. And what? Mama Obi demanded. This child... The midwife's voice dropped to a whisper of awe. I have delivered hundreds of babies in my life. I have never felt energy like this. What do you mean? An elder asked. That this child is blessed, touched by the divine. She looked at Adais, who stood in the doorway. Whatever you did, child, the gods have answered. A murmur rippled through the gathering. Mama Obi's face twisted. That's impossible. She's been barren for 7 years. This is dark magic. I felt no darkness, the midwife said firmly. Only light, only blessing. She bowed respectfully to Adais and walked away, leaving the family in stunned silence. Then, like a dam breaking, everyone started, talking at once. Congratulations! How is this possible? The barren woman is pregnant. It's a miracle. But through the noise, Adais heard only Nema's sharp intake of breath and Mama Obi's whispered curse. By sunset, the entire village knew the barren woman was pregnant. Adaisy walked to the market the next morning, and the world had changed. The same woman who'd refused to let her touch the fertile yams now rushed over. Sister Adaise, please take the best ones, for you and the baby. The women who'd whispered and mocked now smiled and waved. We always knew your blessing would come. We prayed for you. Liars, all of them. But Adaise smiled and thanked them. Bitterness would poison the blessing. She wouldn't let them steal her joy. At home, the dynamics shifted violently. Obi tried to visit her hut that night. Adais, can we talk? She stood in the doorway, blocking his entrance. What is there to talk about? I'm sorry for everything, for not believing in you, for the things I said. You called me cursed. I was wrong. You brought another wife into our home while I was still here. My mother insisted. Your mother? Adaisy's voice was still. You're a grown man, Obi. You made your choices. He looked down. Can I feel the baby? No. His head snapped up. But it's my child. Is it? Adaisy's eyes were cold. You weren't sure this morning. You thought I was trying to pass off a bastard. Those were your words? I didn't mean is, you meant every word. And now that it's convenient, now that I'm carrying a blessed child, you want to be a father. I am the father. Then act like one. Prove it. But you don't get to touch this child until you've earned that right. She closed the door in his face. On the other side, she leaned against it, her hands shaking. The test of mercy was harder than she'd expected. Meanwhile, in the main house, Numa sat alone in the darkness, her hand on her belly. Something was wrong. Her baby had stopped moving 3 days ago. She told no one, because deep in her heart she knew. This was punishment for her cruelty. And the worst part? She deserved it. But she couldn't accept it. Wouldn't accept it. If her baby was dying, it was because of Adais. It had to be. Naomi's hand closed into a fist. She would make everyone see the truth. If you're as angry as I am right now at how quickly everyone changed, drop a comment. They mocked her for 7 years. Now suddenly they're all supportive? And Obi, wanting to be a father now? Hit that subscribe button if you're still here and you need to see what happens next. Share this with anyone who's ever been treated differently once they got their blessing. Let them know they're not alone. Now something dark is about to be revealed. Keep watching. It happened during the evening meal. The entire family was gathered. Obi, his three wives, Mama Obi, and several relatives. Neoma had been quiet all day, her face pale, her movements slow. Suddenly she gasped, "The baby!" She clutched her stomach. "Something's wrong!" Everyone rushed to her side. "Get the midwife!" Obi shouted. "No!" Neoma's voice was sharp. "It's too late. My baby is—" She looked directly at Adas, her eyes blazing with accusation. "She killed it." The compound went silent. "What?" Adas whispered. "You." Neoma pointed a shaking finger. "You cursed my baby. I saw you with that glowing calabash. Dark magic." "Neoma, you're not making sense." Obi tried to calm her. "I'm making perfect sense." She struggled to her feet. "My baby was fine until she got pregnant. Then it stopped moving. She cursed me." "That's not true," Adi said quietly. "Liar! Witch!" Neoma lunged forward, but Obi caught her. The midwife arrived, breathless from running. "Examine her," Mama Obi commanded. "Examine her now." The midwife led Neoma into the hut. 5 minutes passed. 10. When the door opened, the midwife's face was grim. "The child," she began softly. "Dead?" Neoma's voice was barely a whisper. The midwife nodded. "I'm sorry, the baby has been dead for at least 3 weeks." A collective gasp. 3 weeks? Obi stared at Neoma. "You've been carrying a dead child for 3 weeks?" Neoma's face crumpled, but instead of grief, rage poured out. "She did this." She pointed at Adais. 3 weeks ago, she announced her pregnancy. That's when my baby died. "Neoma!" Adais stepped forward, hand extended in sympathy. "Don't touch me!" Neoma screamed. "You're a witch! You killed my baby because I have children and you didn't." "I wouldn't." "Never. You cursed me. I saw that calabash. I saw it glowing. Dark magic." The villagers who'd gathered murmured. Some looked at Adais with suspicion. "Is it true?" an elder asked. "Did you have a glowing calabash?" Adais's heart pounded. Yes, but it wasn't dark magic. It was— Where did you get it?" Mama Obi's voice was sharp. "An old woman by the river gave it to me." She said, "An old woman? What old woman? We know everyone in this village." "She wasn't from here. She was—" "A witch," Neoma sobbed. "She gave you dark powers to curse me." The crowd was turning. Adazi could feel it. "Please," she said desperately, "I would never harm anyone, especially not a child. I know what it's like to long for children. I would never—" "Then why did my baby die the moment you got pregnant?" Neoma's voice broke. "Explain that." Adat had no answer that they would believe. The trial was set for the next morning. That night, Adaezi sat alone in her hut, her hand on her belly. "They think I killed her baby," she whispered to the life inside her. "They think I'm evil." A knock on the door made her jump. "Who is it?" "It's me." Mama Obi's voice. Adazi hesitated, then opened the door. Mama Obi stood there with a bowl of food. Her face was strange, not cruel, almost gentle. "You must be hungry," she said. "You didn't eat at dinner." Adazi stared at the bowl. "I'm not hungry." "You're eating for two now. The baby needs strength." Mama Obi pushed the bowl into her hands. "Eat." Every instinct screamed at Adas to refuse. For 7 years, Mama Obi had given her special food. To help with fertility, she'd always said. For 7 years, Ades had eaten it obediently. But now, carrying this blessed child, her senses were sharper. "Thank you, Mama," she said slowly. "But I'm really not—" "Eat it!" The gentleness vanished, replaced by a cold command. "Now!" Adesi looked down at the bowl, then at Mama Obi's face. "What's in this?" "Food. What else would be in it?" "Then you eat it." Mama Obi's eye twitched. "Don't be ridiculous." "If it's just food, eat it." Adais held out the bowl. "Prove it safe." The silence stretched. "You dare question me?" Mama Obi's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "I question this food." Adais's hands trembled, but her voice stayed firm. "Eat it, or I'll feed it to the compound dog." You ungrateful, but Ada's was already walking toward the dog. Wait! Mommy Obi's hand shot out, grabbing her arm, but it was too late. Adas poured the food into the dog's bowl. The animal sniffed it once and began eating eagerly. Within minutes, the dog was vomiting violently, whimpering in pain. Adas turned slowly to face Mama Obi. The older woman's face had gone white. What did you do? Adai's voice was barely a whisper. The dog must have a weak stomach. What did you do? The compound had heard the commotion. People were gathering. The dog is sick, someone shouted. What did it eat? Ades held up the bowl. The food Mama Obi brought me. All eyes turned to Mama Obi. You tried to poison her? Obi's voice was ice. No, I would never. The food was fine. The dog just what? Just happened to get violently ill from your food. An elder stepped forward. Mama Obi, this is a serious accusation. She's lying. The Barren one is trying to. I'm not barren anymore, Adaizi said quietly. And I think I know why I was barren for 7 years. She looked directly at Mama Obi. You gave me special food every day, remember, to help with fertility, you said. Mama Obi's face twitched. But it didn't help, did it? It did the opposite, the crowd murmured. You're insane, Mama Obi hissed. Pregnancy has made you paranoid. Then explained the dog. I don't need to explain anything to you, Mama Obi's voice cut through. Did you give Adas special food? Silence. Mama, answer me. I was trying to help her. By poisoning the dog? That was an accident? The food wasn't meant for... She stopped. The words hung in the air. Wasn't meant for the dog? Adas finished softly. It was meant for me and the baby. They brought Mama Obi before the village elders at dawn. The compound was packed. Everyone wanted to hear the truth. Mama Obi, the elders spoke. You stand accused of attempted poisoning. How do you answer? I gave her food, that's all. The dog's sickness is coincidence. Then explain, the elder said calmly. Why the village healer found traces of bitter herb in the dog's stomach, the same bitter herb used to prevent conception. The crowd gasped. Mama Obi's face crumbled. You are poisoning her, Obi said, his voice hollow with horror. Weren't you? Silence. Weren't you? Yes. Mama Obi's scream echoed across the compound. Yes, I gave her herbs for 7 years. The crowd erupted. Why? Daisy stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. Why did you do this to me? What did I do to deserve this? Mama Obi looked at her, and for a moment raw hatred blazed in her eyes. I never liked you. The simple words hit harder than any elaborate explanation. From the first day Obi brought you home, I never liked you. You were too soft, too weak, too kind. So you poisoned me? I gave you herbs to prevent pregnancy. I thought you'd leave. Go back to your family in shame. Her voice turned bitter. But you stayed, year after year, taking the abuse, the mockery, the shame. Why didn't you just leave? Because I loved him, Ades whispered. Because this was my home. This was never your home, Mama Obi spat. You didn't belong here. You were supposed to break, to give up. So when I didn't, you tried to kill my baby? Mama Obi said nothing. Answer her, Obi roared. Yes. The word was barely audible. I tried to end it, the pregnancy, before it ruined everything. Ruined everything? Obi stared at his mother, as if seeing her for the first time. I could have been a father 7 years ago. We could have had children, a family, and you stole that from us. I did it for you. For me? Obi's voice cracked. You destroyed my wife for me. You took 7 years of her life for me. He turned away from her, unable to look at her face. And Naoma's baby, Adaisi said softly. Did you have anything to do with that? All eyes turned to Mama Obi. No, she said flatly. That was karma, pure and simple. She looked at Naoma, who sat weeping in the crowd. Your baby died because you spent 3 months consumed with jealousy and fear. You drank bitter herbs trying to protect yourself from Adaizi's witchcraft. You poisoned your own child with paranoia. Neoma's wail pierced the air. But you knew, Adaize said to Mama Obi. You knew her baby was already dead when she accused me. Mama Obi smiled coldly. I knew, and I said nothing, because it was convenient. Let the rich take the blame for everything. The crowd's murmur turned angry. What is your judgment? The elder asked Adaize. Everyone waited. The wronged woman had the right to decide punishment. Adaize looked at Mama Obi. This woman who tortured her for 7 years, who tried to kill her baby, who smiled while she suffered. Banishment, she said quietly. Death, someone in the crowd shouted. She tried to kill a blessed child. She deserves death. No, Adaize said firmly. Banishment. Let her live with what she's done, but she can never return to this village. She looked at Mama Obi. You took 7 years from me, but I won't take your life. That would make me like you, and I refuse to become what you are. The elders nodded. It is decided, Mama Obi. You are banished. You have until sunset to leave. After the trial, after Mama Obi had been led away to pack her things, Neoma approached Adaize. She looked broken, hollow. I'm sorry, she whispered. Adaize turned to face her. I'm sorry for everything, for laughing at you, for mocking your pain, for, her voice broke, for being glad you were suffering. Why did you hate me so much? Adaize asked quietly. I didn't hate you. Neneoma struggled with the words. I was afraid of you. Afraid? Obi loved you, really loved you. I saw it in the way he looked at you, even after years of no children. Tears streamed down her face. He never looked at me like that. I was just the fertile one, the one who gave him sons. But you had his heart. I had nothing. You had everything that mattered, and I couldn't stand it. Neoma collapsed to her knees. So I made your life hell, and now my baby is dead. Is this my punishment? Adaize knelt beside her. Your baby died because stress and herbs damaged your womb, Neoma. Not because of me, not because of karma, just because our bodies can only take so much. But I deserve to be punished. Maybe, but not like this. Adaize took her hand. I forgive you. Neoma's head snapped up. What? I forgive you for all of it. How can you? Because holding on to hatred would poison me the way it poisoned you. Because my baby deserves to grow inside a mother who chose mercy over revenge. Neoma wept in Adaize's arms, great heaving sobs of grief and shame and relief. Can I be different? She asked finally. You can try. That's all any of us can do. At sunset, Mama Obi left the compound. The entire village gathered to watch. She carried a small bundle of her possessions and a gourd of water, nothing else. Obi couldn't look at her. He stood with his back turned as she passed. But she stopped when she reached Adaize. For a long moment, they stared at each other. I'm not sorry, Mama Obi said finally. Adaize had expected that. I know. I did what I thought was right. You poisoned an innocent woman for 7 years. There's nothing right about that. Mama Obi's jaw clenched. You'll never understand. You're too soft, too forgiving. Maybe, Adaize said, but I'd rather be soft than cruel. Mama Obi started to walk away, then paused. That child you're carrying, she said without turning. It will be extraordinary. I felt it when I tried to poison you. The food wouldn't even stay in the bowl. It was like something was protecting it. Something was. I hope. Mama Obi's voice was barely audible. I hope it brings you joy. Then she walked into the sunset, alone, her shadow growing longer and longer until she disappeared. Adaize watched her go and felt nothing. No hatred, no satisfaction. Just emptiness where pain used to be. It was enough. 6 months passed. Adaize's belly grew round and full. Her skin glowed with health. The village treated her with respect now. Genuine respect, not the fake kindness they'd shown before. Obi visited every day, trying to rebuild trust. Slowly, carefully, like putting together a shattered pot. Can I feel the baby kick? He asked one evening. Daisy hesitated, then nodded. She placed his hand on her belly. A moment later, a strong kick. Obi's eyes filled with tears. He's strong. How do you know it's a boy? I don't. I hope, for a son, to teach him to be better than I was. Then you'll have to be better first. I know. I'm trying. The labor came on a full moon night. The entire village gathered outside the birthing hut, waiting. Naomi was there, healed now, her face softer. Chidera held her hand nervously. The young girl was 7 months pregnant herself now. Even Obi waited, pacing back and forth like a caged animal. The hours stretched. Then, just before dawn, a baby's cry pierced the air. Strong, healthy, alive. The midwife emerged, her face radiant. A son, she announced. Healthy and perfect, but there was more. She struggled to find words. When he was born, when he took his first breath, the flowers in the compound bloomed all at once, in the middle of the night. People looked around. It was true. Flowers that had been closed were now open, despite the darkness. And the crops, someone shouted from the fields. They're growing. I can see them growing. It's raining, another voice called. The drought is broken. Gentle rain began to fall. The village erupted in celebration. Inside the hut, Adais held her son. He was beautiful, perfect. His eyes were bright and alert, staring up at her with ancient wisdom. You're here, she whispered. After 7 years, you're finally here. The baby cooed and wrapped his tiny fingers around hers. Obi was allowed in. He approached slowly, reverently, as if approaching something sacred. May I hold him? Adais looked at the man who'd called her cursed, who'd abandoned her, who'd hurt her so deeply, but also the man who was trying, who came every day, who wanted to be better. Yes, she said. She placed their son in his arms. Obi looked down at the baby and broke. Great heaving sobs shook his body. I'm sorry, he choked out. I'm so sorry for everything, for not believing in you, for letting my mother hurt you, for being weak when you needed me to be strong. I know. Can you ever forgive me? Ask me again in a year, after I see the man you become. He nodded, understanding. Forgiveness would be earned, not given freely. That was fair. 3 months later, Adais walked through the village market, her son strapped to her back. The same woman who'd refused her fertile yams now bowed respectfully. Blessings to you and the child, Adais. Thank you. People stepped aside as she passed, not in mockery, but in respect. The barren woman had become the blessed mother. In the compound, Naomi was pregnant again. This time she was careful, gentle with herself. The baby was healthy. Thank you, she told Adais, for showing me mercy when I deserved none. We all deserve second chances, Adase had replied. Chidera had given birth to a daughter and was glowing with new motherhood. Obi had changed, slowly but genuinely. He was kinder now, more thoughtful, learning. And somewhere on a dusty road far from the village, an old woman walked alone. No one knew what became of Mama Obi. Some said she died in the wilderness. Others claimed she reached a distant village and lived there, bitter and alone. But Adais didn't think about her anymore. She had her son, her peace, her joy. As she settled into her hut that evening, nursing her baby, she whispered a prayer of thanks. They said I was cursed. They said I'd die childless. They poisoned me for 7 years. She looked down at her son's perfect face. But here you are. The blessing they couldn't destroy. The miracle they couldn't poison. The baby smiled in his sleep. 7 years of suffering, Adis whispered. But look what grew from that pain. She closed her eyes, holding her child close. And for the first time in 8 years, she fell asleep with a smile on her face. To everyone still waiting for their miracle, your enemies can delay your blessings, but they cannot destroy your destiny. 7 years of poison couldn't stop the blessing that was meant for her. If this story touched your soul, if you believe that your enemies can delay your blessing, but they cannot destroy your destiny, Drop a comment below and say, "My time is coming." Share this story with anyone who's been called cursed, anyone who's been sabotaged, anyone who's still waiting for their miracle. They need to see this. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we have more powerful African folktales coming that will restore your faith and remind you that mercy is stronger than revenge. Your blessing is on the way. I believe in you. See you in the next story.